Welcome to a new episode of the Hybrid Cloud Partners podcast. I'm Fede Pacheco, along with my teammate and co-host Adam Burke. Today, we are going to dive deeper into something we haven't explored yet. Over the past few episodes, we've covered what the DCO team does, what are some exciting solutions like Azure Arc and Azure Stack, and even talked to some partners. The reality is when we say something like we've talked to thousands of partners, many, like 3 out of 4 of them, actually come through an indirect provider. And that means there's a missing piece we haven't covered yet that we will cover today. Is that right, Adam?
Yeah, exactly. I've had the pleasure of knowing our guest, Steve, here for a number of years, Steve. I think it's been a few.
Yeah, it has. I think we're in the 6 to 7 range, I believe. Right, Adam? Something like that.
Yeah. I think that sounds about right. And so super excited to have him here. TD SYNNEX just plays an incredible role for us in terms of really a great partnership in the MSP channel. I have seen Steve go to bat, time and again for MSP partners that he engages with. And so super excited to kind of talk a little bit about that and how partners like TD SYNNEX just play such a critical role for us. So Steve, maybe you could just kind of give a brief intro on your background, your role, and even who TD SYNNEX is and kind of where you all fit into the market.
Yeah, sure, happy to. So, Steve Groth, and I am the director of the Azure practice in the U.S. for TD SYNNEX. I am also part of our worldwide Microsoft team here at TD SYNNEX, where we engage with our peers globally on executing against Microsoft sales strategies for fiscal years. And then we go implement those programs regionally. So the DCO program is near and dear to my heart that we've been working with Adam and team on for years and seen quite a bit of success. So I've been with this organization for, I'll be coming up on 12 years, and all of that time is within the Microsoft business unit. So a lot of experience navigating the Microsoft ecosystem. And TD SYNNEX, for those of you who may not know, we are the world's largest technology distribution company. So 3 years ago, Tech Data and SYNNEX merged, who were the second and third largest distribution partners globally. And now we're the largest, known as TD SYNNEX. And MSP partners are critical and core to our group and our sales focus on helping to enable MSPs to deliver Microsoft-based solutions to their customers.
Steve, so let's start right there. When we say MSPs, managed service providers, you've been through more than a decade with them and talked to thousands, worked with thousands. And now we have this thing called AI that's rapidly changing a lot of things. What does it mean to you to be an MSP in this era?
It's unique, right? And it's challenging and it's fun. So, and with the partners that I engage with, which there are plenty, right? AI is kind of the unknown still, right? So they're learning, how are we going to adapt AI principles to put into our practice to deliver these solutions to our customers? They're looking at it that way of revolutionizing how they're delivering their managed services to their customers and where can we plug AI in and leverage it better. But even beyond that, even just beyond their own managed service practices, they're leveraging it internally within their own organizations to see how they can also leverage AI in order to improve efficiency and speed and things of that nature. So big talking point among our partner community, which is of the thousands. As you guys know, we have quite a large partner community, and we're doing everything we can to help enable them with this age of AI.
Yeah, it is definitely an exciting time, complex and fun. I think you kind of said it well there. What trends are you seeing in the market? I mean, certainly AI is one, but if we look at kind of why things are different now in the market, maybe than a couple of years back, what kind of stands out to you?
Yeah, sure. So there's primarily 3. I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that TD SYNNEX has recently, within the past 4 weeks, rolled out a program that we call MSP Evolve, which is really unique, and it's dedicated and focused strictly to MSPs. And during that process, what we've learned, there's a ton of research done beforehand to say, hey, how can we develop this program to enable our MSP partners to go drive their solutions, improve their business, or grow their business? And what the three trends that through research we found out, one is MSPs are looking to grow. It seems pretty simple, right? But 65% are investing in business planning and consulting, and 80% are expanding their offerings, right? Whether it be leveraging AI or other functionality. So that's one major piece that MSPs are looking to grow. Another thing that is a challenge for MSPs are the skills gap, right? So, hey, they want to move forward and, learn or deliver unique solutions, but they might not have the technical skills or capabilities. So we're seeing that. There's some staggering statistics around the need in that space. And then the third thing through these trends that we realized before rolling the program out is that services, right? More than 40% of the business comes from managed and professional services. More than 50% of those partners expect these percentages to increase. So a lot more growth around the services for these customers. So those are the three key trends that TD SYNNEX realized when creating and rolling out the MSP Evolve program.
It's great to have that resource, and we'll put a link to that in our show notes. Steve, you mentioned MSPs are looking to grow, which we all see it, right? And I'm going to bring probably some memories on a very common conversation we might have every day, every week, which is, if I'm an MSP and I'm profitable in my business today, I have a profitable practice with my own data centers, right? I'm under SPLA with my private cloud. What is the urge to consider public or hybrid cloud solutions? Why should I do it?
Yeah, so a couple reasons I would think, and I'm talking from my perspective because I do hear a litany of answers from our customers, right? So there's always potential cost savings, right? When you're looking at CapEx, OpEx, like where are we going in terms of offering, or changing our direction that we're going and moving from an on-prem type environment and into the cloud, right? And into Azure. So they're always looking and evaluating that. A lot of it is ease of management and access, right? No longer the days of having to worry about if you were managing someone's environment in their own colo or data center going to their location, nor worrying about managing your own location, right? With your time and resources and assets that you're having to expend or use or utilize, and those capabilities you can then utilize in managing customers and looking more towards the growth capabilities. It's interesting because one thing we've learned through this journey that we're all on is that not all MSPs are the same. We know that, right? And there's different challenges that they face, right? So what we've tried to do, we can't do a one-size-fits-all approach, right? So what we're trying to do is build capabilities that are unique to these specific partners or these specific MSPs. As we go through, the process of working with them and evaluating them, we find out where their needs are and how we can help to support in that transition. So I see there's a ton of opportunity. I would also say that we're even seeing a lot of hybrid cloud, right? So we're seeing a lot of partners that are saying, hey, we're going to stick with what we have on premise, but why don't we start at least DR or backup or start some workloads in the cloud so that we can have some redundancy, right? In case there is some sort of traumatic issue on-prem or they lose something, that they're backed up into the cloud. And then that's the initial step going there. And then as they're evaluating their business moving forward, we're seeing a lot of our partners who are then moving customers and their workloads into Azure as well.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think an area that I've seen, in the past is really how TD SYNNEX provides really a ton of support to these MSP partners as they look to profitably evolve. Because I think, working with Microsoft can be complex at times as a partner. And I think, having a trusted guide to kind of navigate that is really a role that I think you all play really well in the market and add a ton of value there. Maybe you could speak a little bit about different ways or, different stories you've had in the past in terms of helping these partners to really kind of build that Azure practice and then thrive with that Azure practice.
There's so many examples that we've been able to provide from TD SYNNEX. And one thing I always like to share with partners, and it sounds corny, might not be the right word, but we really only succeed when our partners do, right? We are a through partner to customer enterprise or business, right? So it's all about enabling our partners. So we have a whole litany and a whole list of offerings that we do. And sometimes it does become very complex. And one thing I will always say is a little bit of a promotion here is that we do provide a monthly, what we call What's Up with Microsoft newsletter. So our partners today can get access to this, and it talks about everything we have going on at TD SYNNEX around enablement, training, webinars, courses, you name it. There is a ton of them that's going on a monthly basis that our partners can register whether they want to learn, on a business path, right? Of how do I grow my Azure practice, right? We can do that and leverage our Cloud Practice Builder consulting, or we need some technical training, right? And we offer classes where folks can take classes and then actually even hand a voucher out to go take the certification if you're trying to earn a specific solutions designation. But we could go into numerous examples. One of my favorites is when we first started the DCO program. We worked with a partner local here to Tampa who had a lot of customers that they were providing services for on Azure, and they were trying to diversify revenue streams and try to figure out another way to help grow and accelerate their practice. Well, this is right when we kicked off DCO, Adam, years ago, working with you guys. And we had the opportunity to go over, two colleagues and myself, to go sit in their offices in Tampa. I'm in Tampa, Florida area, and literally sit down and whiteboard out the strategy. We laid out the data center optimization program for them. They talked about all their customers that they were managing and the opportunity of migrating those customers into Azure and leveraging a lot of the features that we had in the DCO program. What really sticks out to me is that they had glass walls in all the offices. And when we got done, it was literally marker written all over about the different customers that they have and what solutions, for lack of a better term, that they were leveraging this company for, which is a big data partner as well. So it was a really cool experience. And we literally mapped out their engagement with the Microsoft team through TD SYNNEX on the DCO program, and they went and hit the ball out of the park for sure. It was a great kickoff to one of our first DCO agreements.
I hope you use a permanent marker to just
we didn't. We came close though. We came close. It's interesting. One other thing you mentioned about TD SYNNEX, and we're a huge organization, right? And if I could kind of narrow it down to some pillars, right? We have, we work deeply with partners around, vendor development, or like specifically to Microsoft, right? So we have a litany of resources and things that we offer to help partners establish or build and then grow a Microsoft practice, right? And a lot of it I've mentioned, there's training and enablement support, there's marketing support. We have support around financial solutions, like, hey, I need to inquire about getting support for my business financially, or expanding my credit terms, or what have you. We have a whole list of financial support, operational support. We leverage this all around our Stream One cloud platform, which is how we are delivering cloud solutions to our partners, who then extend that down to their end customers. And then professional services, right? We talked about that. It's a need in the managed service space, and we offer white labeled capabilities for partners who don't have, whether it be the technical bench or depth of knowledge around a specific area. We can plug in and help service that in a white label capacity.
Great rundown, Steve. And my takeaway from that is, can I please subscribe to the What's Up with Microsoft newsletter? Because even from the inside, sometimes, we have too many announcements.
I absolutely. And so a few team members put it together. One main lead, Anna is her name on our team, is wonderful. And she puts this out to help our partners wrap their heads around what's going on. Because you're right. And we also have to think, right, as TD SYNNEX, that we're working with partners of MSPs that Microsoft could be a piece of their practice, right? So they're also maybe leveraging other hardware vendor lines or what have you, and they're being inundated with all of this stuff. So we really try to simplify it and make sure our partners are hearing what is most important within the Microsoft ecosystem.
That's wonderful. So Steve, I want to focus now concretely on something you mentioned, even ever since you mentioned how close and how long you've known Adam, which is DCO, the Data Center Optimization Program, right? You mentioned that you were whiteboarding and how DCO was a part of it. What role concretely does the DCO program play, specifically to moving partners and their customers from a SPLA world into a transition to hybrid and cloud?
Yeah, would love to. And it is critical. It is the number one program that myself and my boss, right, funds every Microsoft half. And we have seen tremendous success for our partners who lean in and are committed to the program over the years. So we actually were last week, I think, Andrew, we got with Andrew, and we're saying, hey, we'd like to get an idea of some of the numbers, right, around partners who have leveraged the DCO program through TD SYNNEX, right, through the indirect provider program. And the numbers around the partners who have leveraged TD SYNNEX and our indirect provider DCO program with Microsoft and the DCO team are staggering, right? So since the inception in the US of the DCO program, because it is a worldwide program that Microsoft offers, we've had about 30 agreements or 30 contracts that we've engaged Microsoft with and partners across over 200 Microsoft partners who've been engaged in this. And here's some crazy numbers, right? Total ACR driven, just shy of $400 million, right?
Wow.
And of that, really important and pivotal number is $216 million of that's $399 million is incremental, meaning that partners that have engaged in the DCO program through TD SYNNEX have driven an incremental $216 million of that 399 number. It's fascinating, huge stats. All about, customers and partners are always asking me, how can we find new end customers? How can we do this, that? Well, through the program at TD SYNNEX, and you're happy to reach out to us, we can elaborate more, but we have some marketing resources and efforts as well. And through this, there's been over 3,000 new customers added into Azure. Over 90,000 VMs have been deployed in Azure.
Wow.
32,000 PaaS instances migrated. We're talking about these staggering numbers all done in just a little over 6 years, about 6 years and 3 months. So really incredible, collaboration one with the Microsoft team with Adam, Andrew, and Fede, and all you guys over there have been wonderful over the years. And then our partners who commit and lean in. We've learned a lot, right, Adam, over the years. And we feel really good about when partners are engaging with us, how we can help accelerate and ramp their Azure business and put their footprint into the cloud versus keeping it, on-prem or in their data centers or colos, what have you.
Yeah. I mean, I think what excites me most about those numbers is, it really kind of shows the transformation that I think has occurred in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, kind of the new capabilities and really new business opportunities, we're jointly unlocking for our MSP partners, right? I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's really about putting them in the best position to really best serve their customers. And that kind of transformation, I think, is exactly what is so exciting when we kind of see a partner, really kind of go through that journey and that evolution, if you will.
Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Pivoting maybe a little bit here into another topic that I know is super, important, I think, in the MSP space, is really around security.
Yes.
And I think especially if you look at AI and you want to have, enterprise grade AI, security and governance, also becomes really a top priority for partners as well, both for themselves and then also really making sure, their customers are secure. And that's a key priority for Microsoft as well right now. We have SFI, our Secure Future Initiative, and that is something we are investing heavily in internally and externally. Maybe you could share a little bit about how you support partners, through the process, especially for partners that maybe haven't historically made that like a core part of their business or a dedicated offering. What can you kind of share around kind of the security capabilities or the security support that TD SYNNEX offers?
Sure. Yeah. Just in a nutshell, TD SYNNEX as a whole, to address that, we have a massive security organization and business, right? Because security is the first and foremost thought, when working with our partners and helping them craft that. So specific to the Microsoft ecosystem, it's so cool. There's really so many neat things going on right now. And, the best way I can kind of pivot it is I'll I'll break it down maybe into 4 buckets, I'll say, right? So how are we enabling our partners? So education and training, a huge piece of it, right? So we're offering extensive training sessions and workshops to help our partners grasp the significance of security, AI, and migration processes. And when we talk, plenty of webinars. Last year, we even started instituting roadshows where we were going into local markets, bringing our solutions architects in to help train partners. In regional markets, I believe we delivered 8 of them in conjunction with Microsoft. They were done in Microsoft offices where we brought partners in and talking about the Microsoft security suite of products, I guess at a high level, I'll say, focusing on the Defender products and Azure Sentinel, right, which is a big one because we have a very strong team around that. So education and training, technical support. We provide technical support resources for partners on how to implement security measures. We provide detailed documentation around that. What are best practices? Things around like data isolation and access control and encryption. We can do that. We can educate our partners around it, and we even have technical capabilities to do that on behalf of partner, which is really cool. So a couple other pieces is customizing solutions. So as we're working with partners, as I mentioned before around MSPs, everyone's unique, right? So there might be some customized or tailored security solutions that our architects can help them deploy. And then providing ongoing updates is really important. So this helps enable our partners to understand when there's threats coming or emerging threats or, what improvements to security protocols have been launched or what have you around security. So we are fully engaged and fully providing our partners with updates around this. And I'm talking specific to the Microsoft ecosystem here. We have also put in other measures, I should say, to help our customers with cost control in Azure and spikes and notifications in terms of when partners are transacting through us. Our support team gets notification to set up a service that we provide at no charge, right? That shows where there might be what we're seeing as irregular behavior within a customer's environment, spikes in consumption, just irregular activity where quite frankly, guys, I hate to say it, we're even noticing it before the Microsoft tools are. So it's kind of like we've got a 1-2 punch there, or the Microsoft notifications because we're leveraging the tools. But we're providing that, and I could go on and on. One last thing I'll say, as you guys know, I like to talk. Sorry, is that unique to TD SYNNEX, which is super cool, is we have a cyber range located in Gilbert, Arizona, right? And we do partner trainings and we do partner with end customer trainings where we are doing hands-on demonstrations and false attacks, right? Where we have architects trying to penetrate environments, and we're leveraging the Microsoft suite of security tools to defend against it. So we're routinely doing those and sponsoring partners to come out and learn more about the Microsoft security story.
Steve, thank you for walking us through all of that. I think over the last few minutes,
there's a lot.
We've not only we not only heard that like incremental ACR of all that big number you shared, 66% or more comes from incremental, and all those thousands of customers added, and in parallel, making sure that happens through secure migrations that can leave everybody at peace. Because one partner once said, right, like when this happens, nobody's thinking, okay, what this company helped me migrate, but where's the security company to keep? No. Like for the customer, it doesn't matter. They just want their stuff safe, and if you're helping them with something, they see you as the service provider that you are. Thank you for sharing that. And for overall, this conversation has been amazing, Steve. You know that we have our website, dco.microsoft.com, where anybody can get in touch. And as part of it, they can select TD SYNNEX, whether they already are working with you all or want to work with you all because of all these amazing things that you've shared today. At the same time, I do want to ask you as the last question, how can they get in touch with you if not through the DCO portal?
Yeah, I can provide. Obviously, you can reach out to me directly if you'd like, and I can certainly help in that capacity. So it's steve.groth@tdsynnex.com. Happy to help any way that I can within the Microsoft ecosystem or point you in the correct direction if you need assistance somewhere else. So happy to do that. And, we have a lot there, so don't be scared. And my final words, I'd like to say, if you're a partner and you're maybe scared is not the right word, but apprehensive on the direction that everything's going and the fast-paced transformation, Adam, that you called out before, is we're here to help you, right? So we have our MSP Evolve program where we can help you, work with you directly, like we said, unique for each MSP of how we can support you in a variety of pillars. If you're curious about AI, we have a Destination AI program we haven't even really jumped into yet, but can help partners navigate the AI landscape in terms of what solutions are out there, what vendors are offering different solutions, just everything you need to do to start up an AI practice from A to Z. So we have it there. Please reach out to us and we're happy to help you grow your business.
Awesome. Hey, thank you again, Steve. Really appreciate you joining us today. I think it was a great discussion. I hope our partners that listen find a ton of value in this as well, because you offer just an incredible amount of resources. And I think a lot of times it's just the partner awareness to go and tap into those. So I hope the folks that are listening got some key takeaways on how they can potentially leverage that today. So thank you again.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Fede, thank you very much, guys. Nice to see you again and happy to help out. Let's do it again sometime, right? Had a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we'll take you up on that. And for our listener, if you enjoy this conversation, let us know on YouTube in our comments, or just go to our LinkedIn community. You can access that through our website that, once again, it's tco.microsoft.com. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Stay tuned for more insights and stories from Microsoft's data center optimization team. Be sure to stay connected at tco.microsoft.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.